All right. Hey everybody, how are you? I'm Kathleen and I am a park ranger with the National Park Service at Delaware Water Gap National Recreation Area, and I have with me today Kala, who is a park volunteer and one of our junior rangers. We're coming to you today as the National Park Service is just about to celebrate our 100th birthday, and we're actually in two parks at once right now. I'm standing on the Appalachian National Scenic Trail on Mount Mincy on the Pennsylvania side of Delaware Water Gap National Recreation Area, and there is actually a third national park unit. I'm not sure if you can see it behind me, but the Middle Delaware Scenic and Recreational River is flowing through the actual Delaware Water Gap at the base of the ridge that we're standing on right now. So there's just 409 more parks out there to see. So as I said, we're standing here today. We're coming to you live from Mount Mincy. The Appalachian Trail is, there's 25 miles of the Appalachian Trail that runs right through our park. And in addition to that trail, we have about 200 miles of other trails throughout the park. And that's just in the National Recreation Area. Throughout the Pocono Mountains, in our state and local and county parks, there are hiking trails for every person and every ability. So how do you find out where those hikes are? How do you find out about those trails? First thing you can do, it's nice and easy, and you can do it from home. Just go to some of the websites. Visit the park website at www.nps.gov/DEWA, or you can go to PoconoMountains.com. You can also stop by one of our visitor centers and talk to a park ranger, and they will give you some great advice on how to pick out a hike. For a first-time hike, or for maybe people with families, we suggest that you start with something simple and something a little bit easy, and make sure that you don't exceed your ability levels for that first time out. The great thing about going for a hike is that you don't really need any special clothing. You don't need to buy any special gear to get started. We recommend that you wear loose-fitting clothing. I don't have a whole lot of choice in what I'm wearing today, but loose-fitting clothing, long pants, and long-sleeve shirts are great to protect you from the sun and from insects. If you choose to wear something else, make sure that you use sunscreen and insect repellent, though, to keep from getting sunburn and to keep the ticks and other insects away. You also want to make sure, what are you going to wear on your feet? You're going to be doing a lot of walking on your feet. And while for some of our trails, a good pair of sneakers is sufficient, for trails like this one that are kind of rocky, you're going to want a pair of good, sturdy hiking boots that support your ankles and support your feet and give you some good traction so that you don't slip. Any advice on wearing shoes?
Definitely do not wear brand new shoes if you haven't broken them in yet, because take it from me, blisters are a pain.
So make sure your shoes are broken in at home before you go. And then what else do we want to think about here?
Once we have our outfit picked out, it is time to pack your bag.
Oh, pack your bag. And in this case, we're using a backpack. So what do we have in there? What did we bring today? Let's go down here and see. I see one of the things that you've got is a big bottle of water and some other water out there, right? You want to make sure that we have plenty of water with us so that we can stay hydrated. All right. Oh, one of the most important things, you can get this online. You can get this at our visitor centers. There is a variety of different maps. You want to make sure that you've looked at your maps, that you know where you're going, and so that you have all of that lined out. Oh, I think I know what this is. Are you hungry?
Yeah.
I'm going to make sure that we keep up our energy, so we're just going to bring a couple light snacks. Don't pack a big lunch, though, because you're probably not going to want to eat all that much food, and sometimes carrying that food can actually attract wildlife.
Those are for later.
All right. Oh, insect repellent and sunscreen. Excellent, right? Want to make sure we have that. A couple things for first aid, just in case anything happens or you get an insect bite or a small cut. There's some band-aids and a few first aid things in here, but there's also a whistle. 3 toots on the whistle will let people know that you're in trouble or that you need help, but don't go blowing on the whistle unless you mean it. Sometimes you need that because we all know nature calls. Remember to bring out everything that you bring in with you. An extra battery pack, because a lot of times where you're going, your cell phone might not work, or your battery might run down pretty quickly. So it's good to have a little bit of extra battery pack, but don't rely on your cell phone, because if the battery dies or you don't have cell phone service, you won't be able to use it. So make sure you have your maps and things with you. More water. You cannot bring enough water. Hat. A ball cap. I've got a nice wide brimmed hat here that helps keep the sun off of my shoulders and my eyes, and it protects my head. And definitely want to bring a camera because you don't want to miss these views. And this one's a little bit heavy, but if you want to learn a little bit about some of the wildlife, one of the things that I like to bring with me is a field guide. This one will help me identify some of the birds that I'm going to look for along the Appalachian Trail here today. Some homework. I don't think we need that. More sunscreen. A light jacket, because you never know, the weather could change, or you could get delayed and be out longer than you expected, so make sure you have a jacket.
Can I bring my dog?
Well, you actually can bring your dog on some park trails, but not on all park trails. So wherever you're going, it's always important to make sure you know what the rules and regulations are about bringing your dog. If you do bring your dog, it needs to be on a leash. No longer than 6 feet. You need to clean up after your dog and make sure that you bring plenty of extra water for the pooch. Now there's a few other tips that we want to make sure that you have before you come out and go for your hike. You want to make sure that you're aware of the rules and regulations and that you follow them when you get to the park. A lot of times those rules are there to keep you safe and to also protect our resources and the wildlife. What else?
Be aware of your surroundings, because you never know what might be there. You could be accidentally falling off of a cliff and you would never know it, or an animal could be coming up to you. So be aware of your surroundings.
And speaking of animals, respect wildlife. You may see animals along the way, but they are wild animals. So observe them from a distance and never feed wildlife. And we also want to make sure that you leave no trace. And when we say leave no trace, I mean there should be no sign that you were here. You should take only pictures and leave only footprints. Everything that you brought with you and everything that you carried in, you need to put back in that backpack and carry back out with you. So when you come to hike in the Poconos, and I want to tell you, there is a hike for everybody, every season, no matter what mood you're in, whether you're with family or with friends, every ability level. There are even trails that are handicapped accessible. There are trails to waterfalls. There are trails to the top of ridges. Amazing places. What's your favorite thing about hiking?
I like seeing the scenery and just seeing all the beautiful flowers and plants and lakes and creeks and rivers and everything. It's just so pretty.
So it's a good place to get out. So when you get out and find your park, come on up to Delaware Water Gap National Recreation Area and the Pocono Mountains and find your hike. Have a great day and happy birthday, NPS.
Bye.
Thanks everyone. Let's get one last look at that view there. All right, have a good one.